Hey, before I get into game updates this week, Gunmetal Arcadia 0 is now available on Steam. It was greenlit in 7 days, which I believe is a new record for us, so thank you for your votes. If you bought the game through Humble or itch.io, or if you received the game through the Humble monthly bundle back in May, those keys should be available now. I'll also be sending out keys to Patreon supporters, and I'm using Do Distribute this year for review keys. So if you are interested in reviewing this game, I'll put the link to Do Distribute down in the comments below, so you can request access there. If you are receiving a free Steam key for any of those reasons, please leave a review on Steam. The way the Steam economy works right now, reviews are super important for developers. So if you like the sort of games I make and you'd like me to be able to continue making games like these, please leave a review. But yeah, with the Steam launch out of the way now, Gunmetal Arcadia 0 is basically done at this point, barring any bug fixes and updates that I do in the future. Basically, I can now spend the next 2.5 months focusing on finishing and shipping the roguelike Gunmetal Arcadia. So on that note, I guess I'll switch over to the game here and show a little bit of what I've been working on this week. Let's see, I guess I'll just go ahead and jump straight into the game here. I've sort of set this up in advance to, to show some of the stuff that I've been doing. So I put a whole bunch of treasure chests right at the start of the game that you normally would not see. But, yeah, let's see, so what do we have here? We have a ammo increase, spark shot. First that was a melee weapon from 0 that fires projectiles, and then I'll just grab the rest of these and figure out what we have in a second. Alright, so come back here and open my inventory. You'll see I have the spark shot, which is a melee weapon that shoots projectiles, the talon, the standard sword that I started with. But then I have a few other things. I have this blood synthesizer. I'm not sure that that's the name I'll stick with. It's a little bit morbid, but we'll see how it goes. You'll notice this sits up in the sub-weapon slot, where I normally would have, weapons that I throw with the Y button, and it's blue, whereas most of those have been gray. And what that means is that this is something that, it's not a weapon, it's something that just has an effect when you use it. In this case, it takes some of your ammo and converts that into health. Down here I also have these two items, the damage battery and the active armor. And you'll see if I equip one of these, this also goes up in the sub-weapon slot. So this is also activated with the Y button, but these icons that are sort of yellowish, reddish, these have effects over time. So you activate it and it stays on for some duration and continues draining your ammo over that time, and it has a constant effect applied there. So this increases damage as long as it's active, and then the active armor, this has a chance to block damage while it's active. Right now it's a 100% chance, but I might scale that back. So one thing you'll notice about this is that now I have multiple items in my inventory that can go in the sub-weapon slot. So this is a change from 0, where anytime you would find a new sub-weapon, the old one would pop out. It did the sort of that Castlevania Symphony of the Night thing, where you would sort of have to trade between those and pick which one you wanted to keep. Now everything you pick up just always goes in your inventory. You can always switch those out, and that also means that each sub-weapon can only appear during the game once. You can never have more than one of each of those. What that also means is, because it's kind of frustrating to have to come into your inventory here and find the thing you want, I've also added new controls, so the left and right bumpers now just cycle between these. So I've got my knife here, it's just a standard weapon, but then I can cycle over to one of these, and I'll go ahead and just show how one of these works. I'll drop some bombs here and take some damage. And then I can press Y, and this will consume 2 units of ammo and gives me 1 heart back, and I can use this as many times as I want. Let's see, this one here, this is the active armor. So what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and activate this. You can see it's constantly draining my ammo, and I'm leaving particles behind so you can tell it's still active. And if I drop a bomb here and stand there, it doesn't hurt me, it blocks that damage. So like I said, right now it's a 100% chance to block damage, but I may roll that back and maybe be like 50% chance or something like that. Or there might be different versions of this item that have, different percent chances to block damage, and maybe different costs. The amount, the ammo cost per tick and that tick frequency are both variable, so I can play around with those and try to balance it for different situations. I guess the last one of these was this damage boost. So I'll try to find a tougher enemy where I can show this off a little bit better. Yeah, these guys always just take one hit to kill. Alright, yeah, this is a good example. So, these eyeballs here, one of them is flashing. That's because he is a champion. He has 250% health and drops more loot. And you can see I hit him once with the spark shot rod, and it took down a little bit of damage. Now I'll go ahead and activate this thing, and you can see that took off way, way more damage. I believe right now it's essentially quad damage. So, it's a little bit of a drain on my ammo, but I do a lot more damage. So I can imagine, that would be really nice for, killing bosses quickly and that sort of thing. And, like I said, I can play around with the rate at which those consume ammo and, what those ammo costs are. So, find something that doesn't feel like like you never have an opportunity to use it because it just drains all your ammo too quickly, that sort of thing. So I'll be playing around with that more going into the future, making sure those feel right. Let's see, I think that's just about everything new that I did this week as far as items. Next week I'll be looking more into prototyping the sort of just constant stat buff effects, things that are a permanent increase to damage or jump height, walk speed, all those sorts of things. But any of those sort of effects that I could just have a constant stat buff to, I could also make those be these sort of active items. So, maybe an active item that increases your jump height, or an active item that makes you walk faster, or even do something like right now I have this healing one. I could do something where it's a constant ammo drain over time, but it also just keeps healing you for as long as it goes. So I can look for different sorts of variations on themes like that. Have items with similar abilities, but in slightly different ways. I think that can hopefully be interesting because it increases the variety of things that you might see on any one session, and also, can accommodate different ways that you might like to play. 250% health is probably too much for these champions. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. One other thing that I did this week. Let's see if I can get to the boss here pretty quick. I have rebalanced how much health all the bosses have based on what level they appear in. So, previously, what was happening was you would get to a boss and maybe it would be... This is a good example. So, Syllabus here, this was the boss of the 5th level from 0. So previously he had a ton of health because by the time you saw him in that game, you probably had a bunch of health yourself, you had better weapons, whatever else. And it was just impossible to kill him if you ran into him on level 1 or something. But in this case, clearly you can see I'm already doing a lot of damage. Maybe he even has too little health right now, it's hard to say. But with the damage boost power up there, he dies fairly quickly. So, I'm figuring out what that balance is going to be, but I have the framework in place now to allow myself to scale how much health bosses have by level, so that'll be nice. But yeah, that's sort of, I guess, where items are right now. I'm kind of getting into, I guess, the fun part of content development, where there's less, I guess, art assets and stuff to be done, and more just figuring out given all the tools that I have to work with now, what's fun? What sort of flavor can I inject into this world by having, different combinations of items in different ways, and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'll be doing next week, is figuring out the sort of constant stat buff effects, to include things like the faction vendor sigils, and then either next week or the week after, I guess that'll be the end of the month, I'll be figuring out things like, you know, how items are randomly assigned to NPC vendors and all that sort of thing. You know, as with the blue chests, vendors need to never show redundant items. So if there's anything you've previously picked up or previously seen, vendors should never offer those items to you. So I need to make sure that those systems play nice with each other. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. Item work is in progress. Gunmetal Arcadia 0 is out in Steam. Again, if you get a free Steam key for any reason, please do leave a review. As always, thanks for watching. The series is supported through Patreon. I want to give a shout out to patrons Jace, Benjamin, and Opine Nana for their contributions. You can find the link to my Patreon campaign below. There is also a new patron exclusive build of Gunmetal Arcadia this week, so you can find the link down below as well. That should have gone up last Friday, so yeah, keep an eye out for that. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.